Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today we return to one of the earliest subjects ever discussed on the channel. That is how to best pair your watch straps with your watches and one's attire. So let's get into it. Before we get into this, I want to make this abundantly clear that everyone's tastes are different. After all, it would be so boring if we all dressed and had the same sense of style. What is important is you wear what makes you happy and feel comfortable in, but always treating others who have different preferences with the same respect you deserve to be treated yourself. So hopefully you might find some of this useful, and if it is, fantastic, and if you don't, at least try to be gentlemanly about it in the comments. To make things easier, just like clothes, watches should be paired according to their genre, intended function, and aesthetic. I have identified 4 overall categories in my own wardrobe for every situation and the relevant types of watch and strap that works best with them. Okay, so you probably guessed it by my attire. The first category is formal dress, and this is when you get dappered up to the nines, suited and booted, and we are of course in dress watch territory here. This is my wife's Omega DeVille, stunning little tank inspired Art Deco piece. But anyway, all the straps in this video I personally buy myself. I only recommend the very best for my audience, and of course there are some collaborative efforts in there too. Now, when it comes to dress watches, I am a rather old school and adhere to the rule thinner is always better, to obviously slide under the cuff. Precious metals are preferred but not essential. Subtle accessorization is especially a nice touch here. Matching a watch with cufflinks, jewelry, maybe a tie bar or belt, or even details in one's attire really does bring an extra level of refinement. I'm a big fan of yellow gold, so I complement my watch with a gold tone Cartier Santos belt that I shared in my 2023 EDC update video. For me, a dress watch should be as simple as possible, with two-handers being top choice. The tradition comes from when watchmakers battled each other to make the most slender mechanical dress watches possible, so consequently extra complications were sacrificed. Also, a contributing factor was the etiquette of not needing to know the precise time, from an even older rule that no timepieces whatsoever should be worn at all, as it would be considered rude to check the time at social functions. But that thinking is a little dated in my opinion. Today, time is money, because these days, who actually even pays attention to the breadths anyway? Now the great thing is, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to get a really fantastic, horologically important dress watch. This little Seiko Dolce, 60 bucks, of course quartz, super thin, but it's fantastic. And you can spend, I don't know, 6 figures and beyond on a dress watch. You don't have to spend that much money to have a bit of class. As for straps, leather in a croc, alligator, lizard, ostrich, or even snake skin for something a little more exotic are all top suggestions, as the texture gives a more sophisticated look. I match the finish of the leather to my shoes, as I tend to wear my Loak Chelsea boots, so I go for a nice glossy finish. This works well here because the watch is more understated, but never any kind of contrasting stitching. You want to have the stitching the same color as the strap. In my opinion, that kind of detail undermines the elegance of a dress watch and goes better with more utilitarian styles of timepieces. My go-to brands in this category are De Beers, Hadley Roma, and Fluco from Holbens. All the best quality and the best value in their field. In terms of suits, I tend to stick towards Hugo Boss or British brands like Dax, and for bespoke, Savile Row of course. For dinner jackets, I have various Italian small boutique brands that offer the very regal looking crushed velvet. and I go for dark reds, purple or black. So this next category is what I call semi-smart and everyday wear, and it's the largest because it can vary not only in the different types of straps you can mix and match, but also the variety of clothes. Everything from a Lacoste polo shirt to jeans and a sports jacket. We are firmly in the realm of divers, racing chronos, pilot, field, and even digital watches. Everything but a smartwatch. So the near infinite combinations of straps, bracelets, clothing can be a little bewildering. A lot of the clothes you will see in this section are from my favourite British made, in England no less, luxury brand Private White VC. No matter if it's winter or summer, they have a timeless Bondian style that never goes out of fashion. Very classic stuff indeed. You guys know I've been a fan of the brand since day one on the channel, so it's really important for me to support brands like this in particular. In this category, the watch and strap is often dictated by the colours of the outfit or the material of my shoes. I gravitate almost always towards neutral colours, then complement that with a strap that does not clash. Now, if you want to figure out what colours are best, just do a Google image search on colour harmony, and you will soon see a whole plethora of very useful illustrated guides to help you. Another tip is to play off details in the watch, for example, the iconic orange hand of my Squale 1521, to then pair it with a strap that is either orange or orange features in it. Or perhaps the most famous example is the yellow hand of the Seiko Flightmaster, paired with the NDC parachute olive strap with that little viper-like yellow stripe. So these, if you're an OG, an original Gentry member, you'll know this from the early days of the channel. This is Coloreb, handmade luxury straps from Italy. 10 years later, they're still the best. And of course, they're named after some of my most favorite places on earth. You got the Firenze strap, you got the Venezia, the Roma, Siena. If you want that vintagey kind of distressed look, definitely Coloreb. Just like patina on a watch, straps age uniquely, making them one of a kind. What also works best are straps that are a little bit more distressed and look aged, because as you wear them, they look even more worn in, and I think that really adds a bit of character. One of my current favourites that I love to wear a lot is the Fluco suede straps, again from Holbeins, and I tend to pair them with my favourite style of boot, the classic British Clarks or Crockett & Jones, if you have a bit more money to spend, Chukka boot. Just like the boots, after they are broken in, the suede becomes supple and moulded to the shape of your wrist and even more comfortable. With this strap, I go for warmer neutral colours like the burgundy, being one of my all-time favourites. You can even go crazy, and if you really want it to pop, there are some more lively colour options as well. And for a more downplayed look, there's even a grey version. There's something really refined and cool about matching elements found in your clothing. However, I do not advise matching straps to jackets or outerwear of the same material finish. So this is my favorite jacket from Angel Jackets, and they are fantastic. I highly recommend them. Amazing quality and construction, and reasonably priced as well. Do check them out. But the reason I'm wearing this is because I wanted to illustrate the point. If you look at the strap here, this is from Rios. Now, despite being the same color, I'm not going to wear a suede strap with a suede jacket. It looks like you're trying too hard. So I differentiate in the material, and obviously a little bit of contrasting stitching there. I think it's just a little bit more nuanced and adds a little bit of extra detail to your ensemble. For aviation or racing watches, I recommend Rios 1931. Handmade in Germany and an extremely high quality. The style of contrasting stitching and thicker remboard construction technique always pairs best with Fliegers and Chronos, as it gives it a period correct 1930s look, like you're ready to jump in a Messerschmitt or Spitfire. My favourite is the buffalo leather Typhoon strap, and you can order these directly from them or again from Holbeins. For a similar but more modern and utilitarian look, try straps made out of Kevlar, or alternatively canvas straps too, from Wrist Candy Watch Club. Speaking of them, they are also my go-to brand for maybe the ultimate strap of all time, the classic nylon. Water resistant, ultra affordable, and always connected to the watch if you have a spring bar malfunction. They were first designed by the British military, and now it's translated into a great, everyday, practical, fashionable accessory. I personally designed several that honor my own family's military legacy, like the Valor strap, but if you're not into that, a plain black, olive, or historically accurate Admiralty grey is a must for all collections in a NATO or Zulu style, as they pretty much work with anything excluding, you guessed it, dress watches. So in terms of trousers and jeans, always Levi's, white for summer, denim for the rest of the year. I have a corduroy, which is nice for smart, with a little sports jacket, and then of course plain black, which goes with everything. And between these four, in terms of comfort, fit and style, it's got me covered. Third, we have what I call casual comfort. This is a category that, mainly due to the pandemic, has seen the most expansion for me personally, mainly due to working at home more, and I think this is probably the same for a lot of people out there. Now, I did a whole video dedicated to reviewing tracksuits, so have a look back if you missed it. Now, it's obvious that this kind of apparel was originally intended for sports or leisure activities, that with the rise of street fashion has become the best way to remain comfortable when relaxing, but still with a degree of style when working at home or running errands like going shopping to Trader Joe's. This is not something I would wear at a restaurant or at work or any social function for that matter. This is, however, if you have noticed from my recent travel videos, with the inherent comfort, makes it ideal for long flights and travel. Like in the previous category, bracelets and rubber straps work here, and if you want to channel your inner Tony Soprano, precious metals as well. But unlike the previous category, while you can do your own version of sprezzatura like Keanu Reeves does, as discussed in several previous videos, and make dress watches look cool with semi-smart or everyday attire, dress watches absolutely do not work, in my opinion, with this more tracksuit-based sporting attire. I think in this category, modern watches like the 70s inspired Nivada Grenchen F77, you know, the Gentry style with the integrated bracelet, all of that good stuff works incredibly well here, as does the retrolicious Casio watches like this, and something a little bit more modern, the 90s, there you go, the MRW I recently reviewed, cracking watch for about 20 bucks. Doesn't matter if it's analog, digital, on a rubber strap or an integrated bracelet or a bracelet that actually you can take off, they all work incredibly well in this category. Another thing to note is vintage or vintage-inspired watches are not compatible with this style. There is just something about the modernism of the tracksuit and the old-world charms of certain wristwatches that doesn't mesh well. It's a bit like putting a Starbucks coffee shop in the Uffizi Gallery. You end up looking a bit of a cafone. Avoid leather straps, any kind of nylon, canvas or military strap, like the NDC parachute strap. Take for example this manual wind Longines Heritage watch that I borrowed from the pre-owned section of the highly reputable Shreve Crump&Low store. Its design is based on a watch from World War II, and it's even got some faux patina. It just looks so out of place with contemporary sports or street wear. Incidentally, stay tuned for a full review of this watch coming soon. The fourth and final category is perhaps the purest form of utilizing a watch for its function. We are of course talking about actual sports and outdoor use. Obviously nothing fragile, dressy or vintage this time. Anything leather is out of the picture because if you're working out, sweat from cardio or some other kind of outdoor activity will cause the unfriendly pH oils to penetrate and build up, weakening the leather fibers and eventually destroying it completely. This is the only time I advocate smart watches, and I can't really believe I'm saying this. I'll attempt to keep reading the script without vomiting. Because love them, or like me absolutely loathe them, their tech is beneficial for navigation or tracking stats during exercise. Definitely avoid any kind of metal bracelet here. The increased friction with body movement can cause bruising and even cuts to the skin. And trust me, I speak from experience. So I personally use either military designed nylon straps, mentioned earlier, or high quality FKM rubber straps. These are also water, body oil, and very temperature resistant, but above all, light and comfortable. Dive watches in particular work extremely well because of the timing bezel, along with their inherent robustness and water resistance. So always bear in mind that if you remove the bracelet with a quick change of strap, a dive watch can suddenly move from one category to the next. In terms of clothing here, I tend to go for the Nike Dry Fit, quick drying as the name suggests. Also it's very durable, light, breathable, perfect for working out in. And then I combine shirts like this, or maybe even pants, with elements from my casual comfort category. In terms of outdoor activities, the same applies for avoiding bracelets and leather, as the former can be scratched from sand on a beach, for example, and the latter from salt water, which also has a deleterious effect on the leather. For all of these reasons, along with the benefits of the relevant complications like thermometers, altimeters, barometers and so on, digital watches like G-Shock, Sunto Kors, Protrex, etc. really are king in this domain. So there are 4 categories. Could the ultimate final collection consist of 4 watches? I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think. And also, don't forget to add your suggestions of how to best pair watches and straps. I love hearing your feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, especially if you want to see more free and independent content like this. Onwards and upwards. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.